Hello, welcome everybody who's joining. As usual, we'll give it a few minutes for people to come on. Welcome in Ancient Path. Good to see you again. Hello, Risa. Good to see you. Hello, Visaka. If you're joining us, please to say hello in the chat. This is a community event after all, so if you'd at least be able to say hello, that would be appreciated. So we know who's here. Hello, Dharma Learner. Good to see you. I will be at Empty Cloud Monastery for a little bit less than a month. About 4 weeks I'll be heading out. All right, let's give it about another minute, then we'll get started. Yes, I was on Monk Chat on Friday, actually. All right, let's see what we should open up chanting-wise. All right, let's share screen and we'll get started. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Manopubangama Dhamma Manosetta Manomaya Manasa Che Paduttena Basativa Karotiva Tato Nang Dukkha Manveti Chakkang Bhavahato Padang Manopubangama Dhamma Manosetta Manomaya Manasa Che Pasanena Basativa Karotiva Tato Nang Sukham Manveti Chayava Anapayani Anicca vata sankara upada vayadamino upajitva nirujjanti te sangvu pasumosiko sabba papassa akaranang kusalassa upasampada satchitta pariyodapanang etang buddhana sasanang Kanti paramang tapo tittika nibbanang paramang vadanti buddha nahi pabbhajato parubhagati samanohoti parang vihetayanto anupavado anupagato patimokke cha sangvaro mattanyuta jabatasming pantancha sayanasanang arichitte cha ayogo etang buddhana sasanang. All right, now the English. All actions are led by the mind. Mind is their master, mind is their maker. Actors speak with a defiled state of mind, and suffering follows as the cartwheel follows the foot of the ox. All actions are led by the mind. Mind is their master, mind is their maker. Actors speak with a pure state of mind, and happiness follows as your shadow follows you without departing. Impermanent are all conditioned things, affected by rising and falling away. Having arisen, they then must cease. Blissful is it when they subside. Abstaining from all evil, doing what is good, cleansing one's mind. This is the teaching of all the Buddhas. Patience is the highest practice. Nibbana is supreme, say the Buddhas. A mendicant does not harm others. A recluse oppresses no one. Not insulting, not harming, restrained according to the moral code, moderating in food, dwelling in solitude, engaging in higher mental development. This is the teaching of all the Buddhas. All right. All right, friends, it is Monday night, so that means it is time for the 2-hour festival of Dhamma with the Maggasekha community, Dhammapalooza. This festival of Dhamma includes a variety of different Dhamma-related activities. We just did some chanting. We'll do some meditation later. In between, who knows? Maybe we'll have Q&A. Maybe we'll have sutta readings, Dhamma talk. What happens in the topics we cover is up to you, as always. So if you have any questions you'd like me to answer, if you have any topics you'd like me to discuss or the community to discuss together, then please feel free to type that in the chat. And if you don't have anything, then we can read a sutta. Hello, John and Audrey, welcome. Looks like it might be a quiet night tonight. All right. Hello, Jared. Jared has a question. What's the difference between depression and samvega? If someone had both, what might that look like? It's an interesting question. Samvega is one of those words that's not really much in the suttas. But generally, what you see for samvega is kind of like a sense of urgency. I think that would probably be the thing that is the most distinctive from depression. Yeah, you know, you reflect on you are reflecting on the nature of reality, and you're seeing the downsides of it, the drawbacks of it. And so then doing this will cause a sense of urgency so that you realize, well, there's nothing really to keep around, and so then you practice. So I would say that's probably the difference, the sense of urgency. I think when you have depression, there's a kind of like a stasis in a way, like a being stuck. There's being stuck in cycles and paranoia and doubt and all kinds of emotions and mind states that don't bring you any kind of urgency per se. Although, I mean, you could reflect on your depression and maybe that could bring you some some vega or better yet, some nibbida, some disenchantment. And then you practice for the end. Ancient Past says, why are humans and animals considered different realms when modern science says we're animals? Not that modern science is correct. Well, I mean, yes, we are evolved from animals, but I think that there's a fairly obviously clear difference between a human and an animal, so much that it would make sense that there would be different realms. I mean, sure, there's some animals that might kind of be a little bit closer to the conscious human side of things, but mostly most animals are driven purely on instinct. And of course, humans also have this instinct, but we also have the more advanced brain structures to allow us to go a little bit further than that. Right? This is why, humans can hear the Dhamma and actually practice the Dhamma, where animals cannot, because they're stuck in a world of, eat or be eaten and instinct. Which makes perfect sense why this would be considered a realm of woe. Right? This is a realm in which you cannot really practice the Dhamma. Unlike, some people, growing up, like my father would look at the family dog and say, if there's rebirth, I want to come back as a dog. To basically just kind of lounge around all day. I've heard that from multiple people in my life, at least outside of Buddhist circles. And no, I don't want to come back as a dog, thanks. So that's what I would say. It's not, the realm is really more about the capabilities than like, because I mean, what would you say aliens on a planet 100,000 light years from now? Is that a separate realm? No, not really. It'd be more like a human realm. If the aliens were on kind of the same level as us. And there are other, creatures that were not as, evolutionarily advanced in the brain capacity, would be on the same level as, the animal realms here. Hello, Metika. Welcome. All right, I'll give it another minute or so, see if a question comes in, then we'll read, maybe we'll read two suttas, because the first one I chose is good, is an interesting sutta, but it's a bit short. And then we can go to the next one. Hey, hello, Yankee. Welcome. Well, the thing about science, like religion and like anything else, it's a method of trying to understand the nature of reality. And science can get some things right and some things wrong. Although really, it's more the humans that, because especially when we, start claiming that we are the science and things like that, or, these kind of things. Science is a tool for understanding the material world. And religion is a tool for understanding the spiritual world. The all different ways that human beings have developed to try to figure out what this thing is called life. I heard a wonderful statement. It was something to the effect of, science tells you what? Science tells you about the world, but it can't tell you how to live in it. Right? So, and that's where you get like these two kind of, you need, science for one aspect, and you need religion, philosophy for other aspects. Right? These are all part of the human endeavor. And there are some like kind of like atheist or rational people that claim that like the most of their morals or ethics is not derived from, from anything else. But I mean, most of the Western morals and ethics are clearly derived from, Judeo-Christian religious undertones. Just like in the East, in China, most of the morals and ethics are are derived from Confucianism, Taoism, and Buddhism. This is the nature of things. Right? How we figure out how to live. All right. Well, I don't see any other questions. Why don't we read suttas? As expected, because I took a month off, all of my live streams are quite lightly attended. That's always normal whenever I go away for a while. Hello, Tejas. Welcome. People, do other things when I go away. All right. So we are on Majjhima Nikaya number 47, the Inquirer, Vimamsa. Someone who investigates, someone who inquires. This is a factor of awakening. This is very important aspect of the path. There is nothing above questioning and investigating. So I have heard at one time the Buddha was staying near Savatthi and Jeta's grove, Anathapindika's monastery. There the Buddha addressed the mendicants. Mendicants, venerable sir, they replied. So here's one of those times where you see the different word, badante. Maybe you've not come across this word before. This is this word. Now, Bante, you can see in the suttas that the monastics call the Buddha Bante most often. And this word was only used when addressing the Buddha until the Mahaparinibbana Sutta, which I will be doing reading and commentary of Wednesday at 4 p.m. Eastern. So if you want to join us live, you can there, or you can check it out, after it's recorded. So, but Badante is like now this word, I've heard somebody, like at least one person, say that they've seen it used for like senior monastics, but I've never seen this used for anybody living. So as far as I understand, Badante is really just for the Buddha. And it's kind of like what would you call a more respectable version of saying Bante. The Buddha said this: mendicants, a mendicant who is an inquirer. Now let's see, what is a Maggasekha? One who investigates or tests. Right? This is something that you should put on your resume. You are a Vimangsakhena. What's a Sakhena? Maggasekha. Same word. Well, no, actually. Well, maybe. No, maybe it's not, actually. I could be wrong. I think that's just a declension. Never mind that. I take that back. But anyway. Mendicant, a mendicant who is an inquirer, unable to comprehend another's mind, should scrutinize the realized one to see whether he is a fully awakened Buddha or not. So you see here in this sutta, the Buddha explaining how to investigate the Buddha. Right? That's quite a thing, isn't it? Where the Buddha is telling you to investigate him, to question him, and even gives you a way to do it. Hello, Gautam and Bella. Welcome. Good to see you too. Our teachings are rooted in the Buddha. He is our guide and our refuge. Sir, may the Buddha himself please clarify the meaning of this. The mendicants will listen and remember it. Well, then, mendicants, listen and pay close attention. I will speak. Yes, sir, they replied. The Buddha said this: mendicants, a mendicant who is an investigator, an inquirer, unable to comprehend another's mind, should scrutinize the realized one for two things. So this is an important clarification here, or caveat. Unable to comprehend another's mind. So this is a person without psychic powers. Things that can be seen and heard. To scrutinize the realized one for two things. Things that can be seen and heard. Can anything corrupt be seen or heard in the realized one or not? Let's see here. What's corrupt? Anyway. Scrutinizing him, they find that nothing corrupt can be seen or heard in the realized one. They scrutinize further. Can anything mixed be seen or heard in the realized one? Scrutinizing him, they find that nothing mixed can be seen or heard in the realized one. I just want to do a little poly aside here. I want to see what this mixed is. It's just kind of really for my own edification here. Yeah, it is vitimissa. Mixed, mingled, mixed up, or muddled. So this is an interesting one. So mixed or muddled. So kind of like unclear, right? Or, unclear or muddled or mixed ethics, this kind of a thing. Scrutinizing him, they find that nothing mixed can be seen or heard in the realized one. They scrutinize further. Can anything clean be seen or heard in the realized one? Scrutinizing him, they find that clean things can be seen or heard in the realized one. So vodata, purified, cleansed, completely clean. They scrutinize further. Did the Venerable attain this skillful state a long time ago or just recently? They scrutinizing him, they find that the Venerable attained this skillful state a long time ago, not just recently. They scrutinize further. Are certain dangers found in that venerable mendicant who has achieved fame and renown? For mendicants, so long as a mendicant has not achieved fame and renown, certain dangers are not found in them. But when they achieve fame and renown, those dangers appear. Scrutinizing him, they find that those dangers are not found in that venerable mendicant who has achieved fame and renown. They scrutinize further. Is this venerable securely stopped or insecurely stopped? Is the reason they don't indulge in sensual pleasures that they're free of greed because greed has ended? I.e., are they not indulging because they just aren't around it, or are they actually free of greed? Right? This is the old out of sight, out of mind until it's back in sight. And then you see if your out of sight, out of mind actually worked. I've seen this with monastics who become out of sight, out of mind, and they doing very well. And, there's not a lot of temptations and greediness and all that stuff. But as soon as temptations arise, the weakness shows itself. So this is the clarification here. Scrutinizing him, they find that the venerable is securely stopped, not insecurely stopped. The reason they don't indulge in sensual pleasures is that they're free of greed because that greed has ended. If others should ask that mendicant, but what reason and evidence does the venerable have for saying this? Answering rightly, the mendicant would say, because whether that venerable is staying in a community or alone, some people there are in a good state or a sorry state, some instructed group, and some are seen among material pleasures, while others remain unsullied. Yet that venerable doesn't look down on them for that. So this is a person who is not engaging in it and also not judging others. Also, I have heard and learned this in the presence of the Buddha. I am securely stopped, not insecurely stopped. The reason I don't indulge in sensual pleasures is that I'm free of greed because greed has ended. Next, they should ask the realized one himself about this. Can anything corrupt be seen or heard in the realized one or not? The realized one would answer, nothing corrupt can be seen or heard in the realized one. Can anything mixed be seen or heard in the realized one or not? The realized one would answer, Nothing mixed can be seen or heard in the realized one. Can anything clean be seen or heard in the realized one or not? The realized one would answer, clean things can be seen and heard in the realized one. I am that range and that territory, but I do not identify with that. That's an interesting statement. I am that range and that territory. That's quite interesting. I am that range. I want to check the Pali for this. Huh. There it is. So okay. Range, way, path. Yeah, I am that range. I am that path. That's an interesting compound. Very interesting. All right. A disciple ought to approach, but I don't identify with it. So obviously the Buddha is saying that this is the development that he has reached. But since everything's anatta, he does not identify with it. A disciple ought to approach a teacher who has such a doctrine in order to listen to the teacher. The teacher explains Dhamma with its higher and higher stages, with its better and better stages, with its dark and bright sides. When they directly know a certain principle of those teachings, in accordance with how they are taught, the mendicant comes to a conclusion about the teachings. They have confidence in the teacher. The Blessed One is a fully awakened Buddha. The teaching is well explained. The Sangha is practicing well. If others should ask that mendicant, but what reason and evidence does the Venerable have for saying this? Answering rightly, the mendicant should say, Reverence, I approach the Buddha to listen to the teaching. He explained the Dhamma with its higher and higher stages, with its better and better stages, with its dark and bright sides. When I directly knew a certain principle of those teachings in accordance with how I was taught, I came to a conclusion about the teachings. I had confidence in the teacher. The Blessed One is a fully awakened Buddha. The teaching is well explained. The Sangha is practicing well. When someone's faith is settled, rooted, and planted in the realized one in this matter, with these words and phrases, it's said to be grounded in faith that's based on evidence. It is firm and cannot be shifted by any ascetic or Brahmin or God or Mara or Brahma or by anyone in the world. This is how to scrutinize the realized one's qualities, but the realized one has already been properly searched in this way by nature. That is what the Buddha said. Satisfied, the mendicants were happy with what the Buddha said. Hello, Malika. Good to see you. It's been a while. So we have finished our sutta. Any, or at least the first short sutta. Any comments, questions, clarifications regarding that sutta? One who investigating the Buddha, inquiring and questioning into the qualities of the Buddha. I'll give it a minute or two in the chat and see what we have. And if there is nothing, then we will go to the next sutta. Hello, perennial daydreams. Does range refer to the path from its beginning to the end? I don't think so. I'm going to assume we're talking about like the range where the Buddha says that for one to stay in their range, like in mindfulness, etc. But let me see if I can find the Pali again, and we'll inquire. Yeah. Doesn't really. Definition doesn't really make it any clearer per se. This is something that is not very common in the suttas. It's not something that I've heard many, many times. But this is so this comes in the section of clean things. So I would hazard a guess to say the range is that the range of skillful things, right? So all of the being free from defilements, free from craving, free from ignorance, etc. That's the range here that the Buddha is. Fully clean, fully purified. I'm doing okay. I'm a bit more energetic tonight than I have been in quite a while. So, all right. Why don't we read the next one? And if I'm not mistaken, this is this is both funny and profound. This sutta. I quite like this sutta, especially when in regards to monastics living skillfully together. The mendicants at Kosambi. At one time, the Buddha was staying near Kosambi in Ghosita's monastery. Now, at that time, the mendicants of Kosambi were arguing, quarreling, and disputing, continually wounding each other with barbed words. You know, I think that's more literal. This is the one of the few cases where Bhante Sujato's is probably a bit more literal in terms of actually what it is. But I really like Bhikkhu Bodhi's translation here. Attacking, I think it's attacking each other with verbal daggers. I love that, like that metaphor. They're attacking each other, like throwing verbal daggers at each other. But continuously wounding each other with barbed words. They couldn't persuade each other or be persuaded, nor could they convince each other or be convinced. Then a mendicant went up to the Buddha, bowed, sat down to one side, and told him what is happening. So the Buddha addressed a certain monk. Please, monk, in my name, tell those mendicants that the teacher summons them. Yes, sir, that monk replied. He went to those monks and said, Venerables, the teacher summons you. Yes, Reverend. And those monks replied. They went to the Buddha, bowed, and sat down to one side. The Buddha said to them, Is it really true, mendicants, that you have been arguing, quarreling, and disputing, continually wounding each other with barbed words, and that you can't persuade each other or be persuaded, nor can you convince each other nor be convinced? So what is this? These are people who are heavily entrenched on their own views to the point where they cannot compromise or discuss. They're in their echo chambers, to use a modern word, and they're holding on so tightly that they can't even let go to be able to live together with somebody else. Yes, sir, they said. What do you think, mendicants? When you're arguing, quarreling, and disputing, I don't think this is the sutta I thought it was, to be honest with you. I think this might be a different one. It's still good. But I think I might have thought this was something else. What do you think, mendicants? When you're arguing, quarreling, and disputing, continually wounding each other with barbed words, are you treating your spiritual companions with kindness by way of body, speech, and mind, both in public and private? No, sir. So it seems that when you're arguing, you are not treating each other with kindness. So what exactly do you know and see, you foolish men? Now this is again, I love pointing this out. I love pointing this out where both Bhikkhu Bodhi and Bhante Sujato, they kind of make it they make it less harsh. But the Moga Parisa. So where's the Moga? Moga. Lobha. Oh, actually, no. Moga is Moha. It's not Moga. Different word. But anyway, a stupid or useless person. I wonder. I wonder if it might be connected to delusion. I'm almost kind of wondering. Let me see. Let me see. Moga. Moga means useless, stupid, in vain, wrong, foolish. Okay, so it's not the same. A deluded person is definitely Moga. But so a stupid or useless person, a useless person. What exactly do you know and see, you useless men, that you behave in such a way? This will be for your lasting harm and suffering. Then the Buddha said to the mendicants, mendicants, these 6 warm-hearted qualities. Amiable qualities make for fondness and respect, conducing to inclusion, harmony, and unity without quarreling. What's 6? So this is something that you can use for your coworkers, family members, people who you have to deal with in close proximity on a regular basis. Firstly, a mendicant consistently treats their spiritual companions with bodily kindness, both in public and private. This warm-hearted quality makes for fondness and respect, conducing to inclusion, harmony, and unity without quarreling. So, right, this is bodily kindness both in public and private, not behind the person's back, not even when nobody else is looking, right? Public and private. Furthermore, a mendicant consistently treats their spiritual companions with verbal kindness and with mental kindness. Furthermore, a mendicant shares without reservation any material possessions they have gained by legitimate means, even the food placed in the alms bowl, using them in common with their ethical spiritual companions. This is something that is common, especially when it comes to an older or a sick monastic. Um, Younger, more fit monastics will go out with their big alms bowl and they will collect a lot of food and they'll come back and it will all go into kind of communal pot where everybody shares it and divides it up. Even for those monks who are sick or older, who are not fit enough to go out and get the food. Furthermore, a mendicant lives according to the precepts shared with their spiritual companions, both in public and private. So this would be for monastics that, we're all living according to the monastic code, all the the Vinaya, and so we should, in doing so, this is of benefit to the community and encourages others. Those precepts are unbroken, impeccable, spotless, unmarred, liberating, praised by the sensible people, not mistaken, and leading to immersion. Furthermore, a mendicant lives according to the view shared with their spiritual companions, both in public and private. That view is noble and emancipating and leads one who practices it to complete ending of suffering. This warm-hearted quality makes for fondness and respect, conducing to inclusion, harmony, and unity without quarreling. These 6 warm-hearted qualities make for fondness and respect, conducing to inclusion, harmony, and unity without quarreling. Of these 6 warm-hearted qualities, the chief is the view that is noble and emancipating, and leads one to who practices it to the complete ending of suffering. It holds and binds everything together. It's like a bungalow. The roof peak is the chief point, which holds and binds everything together. In the same way of these 6 warm-hearted qualities, the chief is the view that is noble and emancipating and leads one who practices it to the complete ending of suffering. It holds and binds everything together. And how does the view that is noble and emancipating lead one who practices it to the complete ending of suffering? It's when a mendicant has gone to the wilderness or to the root of a tree or to an empty hut and reflects like this: is there anything that I'm overcome with internally and haven't given up, because of which I might not accurately know and see? If a mendicant is overcome with sensual desire, it's their minds that's overcome. If a mendicant is overcome with ill will, dullness and drowsiness, restlessness and remorse, doubt, pursuing speculation about the world, pursuing speculation about the next world, or arguing Gonna check the poly here. I apologize if me checking the poly seems kind of abrupt, but it is speculation. All right, yeah, thoughts about this world, speculating about the life. Okay, so yeah, speculation about the next world, or arguing, quarreling, and disputing, continually wounding others with barbed words. It's their mind that's overcome. They understand there is nothing that I'm overcome with internally and haven't given up, because of which I might not accurately know and see. My mind is properly disposed for awakening to the truths. This is the first knowledge they have achieved that is noble and transcendent and is not shared with ordinary people. Furthermore, a noble disciple reflects: when I develop, cultivate, and make much of this view, do I personally gain serenity and quenching? They understand: when I develop, cultivate, and make much of this view, I personally gain serenity and quenching. This is the second knowledge. Furthermore, a noble disciple reflects: are there any ascetics or Brahmins outside of the Buddhist community who have the same kind of view that I have? They understand there are no ascetics or Brahmins outside the Buddhist community who have the same kind of view that I have. This is the third knowledge. Furthermore, a noble disciple reflects: do I have the same nature as a person accomplished in view? In what mendicants is the nature of a person accomplished in view? Nature here, dhammata, normal custom, normal habit, what is to be expected. So what is the nature of this person? What is the normal habit of this person who is accomplished in view? Though they may fall into a kind of offense for which rehabilitation has been laid down, so this is a sangha disesa. This is a serious offense, but not serious enough that you don't stay as a monk. You need to go on a probation and you are rehabilitated. They may fall into a kind of offense that rehabilitation has been laid down, but they quickly dispose, clarify, and reveal it to the teacher or a sensible spiritual companion. So they don't try to hide that they've done something bad. And having revealed it, they restrain themselves in the future. Suppose there was a little baby boy. If he puts his hand or foot on a burning coal, he quickly pulls it back. In the same way, this is the nature of a person accomplished in view. Though they may still fall into a kind of offense for which rehabilitation has been laid down, they quickly reveal it to the teacher or a sensible spiritual companion. Let me see here. A person accomplished in view. This might be talking about a sotapanna, a stream enter. We'll see. And having revealed it, they restrain themselves in the future. They understand. I have the same nature as a person accomplished in view. This is the fourth knowledge. Furthermore, a noble disciple reflects, do I have the same nature as a person accomplished in view? And what, mendicants, is the nature of a person accomplished in view? This is the nature of a person accomplished in view. Though they might manage a diverse spectrum of duties for their spiritual companions, they still feel a keen regard for the training in higher ethics, higher mind, and higher wisdom. So this is important here for monastics especially, because we can get very, very, very wrapped up in all kinds of busyness and duties. I can remember at Bhavana, I felt like I was the servant of lay people half the time. Because lay people were coming and enjoying the meditation of Bhavana, and I was working for them. And I thought, wait a second, I'm the monk. I'm supposed to have more time to meditate. How did this work? But this is how it went. This is very good, actually. They might manage a diverse spectrum of duties for their spiritual companions, but they still feel a keen regard for the training. Suppose there was a cow with a baby calf. She keeps the calf close as she grazes. In the same way, this is the nature of a person accomplished in view. Though they might manage a diverse spectrum of duties for their spiritual companions, they still feel a keen regard for the training in higher ethics, higher mind, and higher wisdom. They understand. I have the same nature as a person accomplished in view. This is the fifth knowledge. Just pausing a second here. Furthermore, a noble disciple reflects, do I have the same strength? Bala. Yeah. Not as opposed to Bala. This is Bala. So Bala is fool. Bala is strength. So this is where you have the or power, right? So if you see the 37 factors of awakening, you have the 5 faculties. Indriya, I think that's the Pali word, Indriya. I could be wrong. And then you have the 5 bala, same list of 5, but the faculties become powers. So that's what this word is here. Do I have the same power as a person accomplished in view? And what, mendicants, is the power of a person accomplished in view? The strength of that person accomplished in view is that when the teaching and training proclaimed by the realized ones are taught, they pay heed, pay attention, engage wholeheartedly, and lend an ear. They understand I have the strength as a person accomplished in view. This is the 6th knowledge. Furthermore, a noble disciple reflects, do I have the same strength as a person accomplished in view? And what, mendicants, is the strength of a person accomplished in view? The strength of a person accomplished in view is that when the teaching and training proclaimed by the realized ones are being taught, they find inspiration in the meaning in the teaching and find joy connected with the teaching. They understand I have the same strength as a person accomplished in view. This is the 7th knowledge they have achieved that is noble and transcendent. that is not shared with ordinary people. When a noble disciple has these 7 factors, they have properly investigated their own nature with respect to the realization of the fruit of stream entry. I called it. A noble disciple with these 7 factors has the fruit of stream entry. That is what the Buddha said. Satisfied, the mendicants were happy with what the Buddha said. All right. Any comments, clarifications, questions about what we just read? And if there are none, then we will move to our meditation period. We are an hour in, or close to an hour in now. What is public mental kindness? It's thoughts, it's positive thoughts in the mind in public. Even though you see that we see this from the simile of the saw, the Kakachupama Sutta, the simile of the maid Kali, who kept waking up later and later to see if her mistress really had anger and agitation in her. And what you'll see is that over the times that she's waking up later and later, the agitation progresses. At first, she's kind of mentally agitated, and you see a little bit of a scowl, but it doesn't go any further than that. Right? So you can, if you're mentally, have lots of ill will, then it will be kind of obvious. You have like a scowl towards somebody, or like the bodily posture. Again, not even making an action, just your posture towards the person. This doesn't even have to be an awareness of that posture. It's just kind of the natural reaction of a body to a mind that's full of ill will. So that's how I would explain that. All right. Why don't we do our meditation? Then we'll read a little bit of Dhammapada, then we'll close out for the night. Good questions, Jared. I appreciate you asking questions. Malika says, I have visited Kosambi when I went on pilgrimage. This sutta came to my mind while I was there. Very good. All right. Let's close our eyes and set our bodies up in a stable and comfortable position. Start by scanning through the body as we usually do, starting from the feet, moving up to the head. Begin by placing your focus and attention on the feet. By placing focus and attention, this means to focus in and be an investigator of whatever sensation or feeling arises in that part of the body, such as the feeling of the feet pressing against the floor, the cushion, the opposite leg, however they may be disposed. Moving up through the ankles into the calves. Up through to the knees, into the thighs. Up through to the hips and pelvis. Paying special attention to this part of the body as the position of the hips and pelvis impacts the legs and the spine. When you're ready, move up the spine through the abdomen and the chest. Up through to the shoulders, checking that they're hanging loosely, not scrunched up and tight. Down through to the elbows and hands, observing how the position of the elbows and hands also impacts your posture. And finally up to the head, checking that the head is also not leaning and slouching here and there. Chin parallel to the floor. And when you're done, setting up the body in a comfortable and stable position, let the body go and take 3 deep breaths. Then let the breath go. From here on in, try not to manipulate or control the breath in any way. The body doesn't need you to do its job. Your job is to simply observe, investigate, and abide with the breath. As you follow the breath, your mind will become bored and will seek to run away to the past or the future, across the world, or involved in all kinds of fantasies and stories. Or an external distraction like a sound will arise, will cause agitation, and your mind will chase after it. Whenever this happens, after a time, it'll slowly start to dawn on you that you've been taken away from the breath. At that point, fully acknowledge you've been taken away from the breath, and start to come back to full focus, attention, and mindfulness. Practice letting go of the distraction by neither getting agitated and trying to push it away, nor by continuing to grab it and attach to it. Try to give it no more attention, no more energy. Let it be. Let it go on its way just as it came. And then return to the breath. Whenever you're distracted away, acknowledge, let go, and return. Acknowledge, let go, and return. The breath is home base. Always come back. It's always there, waiting and ready for you to follow it towards a more calm and tranquil mind. As you're following your breath, every once in a while, check in with the state of your mind. Is your mind becoming more calm and tranquil or not? As it does, you may begin to notice more subtle characteristics of the breath. Sometimes the breath is long and deep, sometimes short and shallow. Try to start observing how the breath is changing as the body's breathing in and out. Notice those subtle differences and changes, movements. As your mind goes deeper into tranquility, you might begin to notice even deeper, more subtle characteristics of the breath. See if you can follow along with the whole cycle of the breath, every aspect of it. The breathing in, the expanding of the lungs, the pause at the end of the breathing in, the lungs full of air, and the breathing out, the lungs deflating and air leaving the body. And then the pause when the lungs are totally empty of air. And then the breathing in again. See if you can pay attention to this full cycle of the breath and observe its characteristics. Stay with the breath. Slowly open your eyes, becoming aware of the room around you. Moving your focus back to the external. Reflect on how the state of your mind has changed from the beginning of the meditation to now, and contemplate any experiences you may have had during that meditation. We will read some Dhammapada, then we'll close it out for the night. If anybody does have any questions or anything that you'd like before we end up, you can put those questions as I bring up the Dhammapada and we read some of that. Old age. When this world is ever ablaze, why this laughter? Why this jubilation? Shrouded in darkness, will you not see the light? Behold this body, a painted image, a mass of heaped up sores, infirm, full of hankering, of which nothing is lasting or stable. Fully worn out is this body, a nest of disease and fragile. This foul mass breaks up, for death is the end of life. These dove-colored bones are like gourds that lie scattered about in autumn. Having seen them, how can one seek delight? This city, the body, is built of bones, plastered with flesh and blood. Within are decay and death, pride and jealousy. Even gorgeous royal chariots wear out. And indeed, this body too wears out. But the Dhamma of the good does not age. Thus the good make it known to the good. The man of little learning grows old like a bull. He grows only in bulk, but his wisdom does not grow. Then we see a very famous line, through many a birth in samsara have I wandered in vain, seeking the builder of this house. Repeated birth is indeed suffering. O house builder, thou art seen. You will not build this house again, for your rafters are broken and your ridgepole is shattered. My mind has reached the unconditioned. I have attained the destruction of craving. Those who in youth have not led the holy life, or have failed to acquire wealth, languish like old cranes in the pond without fish. Those who in youth have not led the holy life, or have failed to acquire wealth, lie sighing over the past, like worn out arrows shot from a bow. All right, this next one's fairly small, so why don't we read this too? The self, Attavagga. If one holds oneself dear, one should diligently wash oneself. Let the wise man keep vigil during any of the 3 watches of the night. One should first establish oneself in what is proper. Then only should one instruct others. Thus the wise man will not be reproached. One should do what one teaches others to do. If one would train others, one should be well controlled oneself. Difficult indeed is self-control. One truly is the protector of oneself. Who else could the protector be? With oneself fully controlled, one gains a mastery that is hard to gain. The evil a witless man does by himself, born of himself and produced by himself, grinds him as a diamond grinds a hard gem. Just as a single creeper strangles the tree on which it grows, even so a man who is exceedingly depraved harms himself as only an enemy might wish. Easy to do are things that are bad and harmful to oneself, but exceedingly difficult to do are things that are good and beneficial. Whoever, on account of perverted views, scorns the teachings of the perfected ones, the noble, righteous ones, that fool, like the bamboo, produces fruits only for self-destruction. By oneself is evil done, by oneself is one defiled, by oneself is evil left undone, by oneself is one made pure. Purity and impurity depend on oneself. No one can purify another. Let one not neglect one's own welfare for the sake of another, however great. Clearly understanding one's own welfare, let one be intent upon the good. All right, friends, let's do our business and then call it a night. So if you are joining us for the first time and you'd like to find out more information about myself in the organization that I have started, you can go to the website, Maggasekha.org. That is scrolling on the bottom, Maggasekha.org. There you can find a variety of different things like articles, videos, etc. You can also, in the top right part, put your email in, and then you will get notified by email anytime I post about some new activity, new event, new video, etc. You can also click subscribe and click the bell here on YouTube, and you will also get an email every time a video comes up. So every Monday that I'm in a place I'm able to do it, we will do Dhammapalooza, 8 p.m. New York time. Wednesdays, when I have the energy and ability, I like to put up an Ask a Bhante. People ask me questions and I make a video about it. This Wednesday, we will be doing a reading and commentary of the Mahaparinibbana Sutta, the Buddha's final extinguishment, here at Empty Cloud with a live audience and anybody who would like to join us or watch it after. We also have the Maggasekha Discord community on the Discord program. If you are interested in a community that both studies and practices in accordance with the early Buddhist texts, the suttas, then this community might be beneficial for you. You can send an email to the email listed on the screen, maggasekha@gmail.com, ask for an invite, and we will send you one. Let's share our merits and head out. Dukkha patta chane dukkha, bhaya patta chane bhaya, sokha patta chane sokha, hantu sabbe pipaniyo, etavata chamehe sampatang punya sampatang, sabbe deva anumodantu sabba sampatti siddhiya, akasatta chabumata deva naga mahiddika, punyang tang anumoditva charang rakantu sasanang. May the suffering once be suffering free, and the fear-struck fearless be. May the grieving shed all grief, and may all beings find relief. May all beings share this merit that we've thus acquired for the acquisition of all kinds of happiness. May beings inhabiting space and earth, devas, nagas, and yakas of mighty power, share this merit of ours. May they long protect the Buddhist dispensation. Sadhu. All right, friends, that wraps up another Monday night Dhammapalooza. Sukhi Hotu, may you be happy and at ease. Practice well and be well. May you have a spiritually successful and peaceful practice until we meet again. Have a good week.